Let's bring in criminology professor Michael Kempa from the University of Ottawa, who focuses on the politics of security, public safety, and policing. Michael, you've been following the testimony carefully, and it seemed like quite the bombshell today from the head of CSIS, who says he told Prime Minister Trudeau to invoke the Emergencies Act. How did you interpret that admission today?
Well, it seems out of alignment with what was on the record and submitted as evidence previously by Mr. Vigneault, head of CSIS, in that he has been saying that the Freedom Convoy does not meet the specific CSIS Act definition of a threat to national security. The thing is, there is ambiguity in the Emergencies Act itself as to whether that specific definition must apply to the invocation of the Emergencies Act. By Mr. Vigneault encouraging the government to go forward with the EA, it suggests that he shares the opinion that that very narrow definition does not constrain the government with respect to the Emergencies Act.
In what way will the testimony from CSIS impact the outcome of this inquiry? The head of the Canadian Security saying the act should be used.
Well, it's quite enormous in that up until now, where we had top government officials, bureaucrats appearing. So we had, for example, Jody Thomas, the main security advisor to the Prime Minister. We had Ms. Charette, the head of the Privy Council office. Both of them said, well, whether or not that specific definition applied, we needed to use a broader definition. That's not quite as impactful as saying not only did we need to do it, it was legally appropriate, as Mr. Vigneault said today. So that's giving weight. The commissioner will now have to decide, is that actually legally accurate? And now if he finds that it is not legally accurate, that in fact the government should not have acted in that way, he may conclude, for example, that the government made an honest mistake, given that they were given that information or that guidance from the head of CSIS. I suspect that it will be decided that that broader definition that the government actually used may be appropriate, and a major recommendation that the commissioner, Justice Rouleau, will bring forward will be eliminating that ambiguity from the Emergencies Act moving forward.
So the recommendation, the fallout of this, could be to revisit the act and really specify when it should be used.
Well, that will be one recommendation. I assure you that there are going to be dozens. We're getting to the point now where we stop asking the question really of, was it right or wrong to simply invoke the entire Emergencies Act? The way I like to think of the EA is it's like a big empty folder. Every time the government wants to use it, they slide certain powers that they think are important for that circumstance into the folder. So this time, we compelled tow truck drivers to help the government. We declared some protest red zones in Ottawa and at border crossings, and we froze certain bank accounts. So the detailed question is not just, was the EA good or bad? It's, were those specific powers the right ones to slide into the folder this time? Did the government maybe go too far with some of the specific powers? That's the level of detail that Justice Rouleau will dial down to. He won't just simply say, oh, Justin Trudeau is either a genius or a tyrant. It'll be very much closer to the detail of some of these things maybe were justified, and some perhaps won't go that far next time.
The testimony so far has really described a dysfunction within police, and now this is quite the stacked week when it comes to federal witnesses. What are you expecting to hear from the ministers and even the Prime Minister, given what we've heard so far?
I believe their argument is going to be that the Emergencies Act was not the perfect tool to use. It was simply the available tool that was necessary to act as a circuit breaker to disrupt the protests and bring the situation under control. They're going to say that so many things broke down in the chain of civil institutions, the local police, police governance, cities dealing with the province, that the EA was just something that became necessary while the system was functioning so poorly. But the goal is going to be to fix that system, because we don't ever want to mobilize the Emergencies Act for this same set of reasons.
Thank you so much, Professor Kempa, for your time with us tonight.
Thank you.